Hey, what's going on, everybody on YouTube? EXO coming at you here. Just chilling in my garage, feeling really good today because I just finished cleaning up the whole joint. So I figured I'd do something a little special today. Do you remember like 5 years ago? We did kind of a little walk around of my workshop. I was living in an apartment at the time and had a pretty humble workshop. And I just showed you guys my tools, my supplies, and basically all of the odds and ends that end up making these projects possible. So today I figured I'd do something a little reminiscent and do the same thing. It's been 5 years or maybe more at this point. So I'm gonna go ahead and walk through the workshop, show you guys the different areas that I've made and cleaned up, and also some of the tools in here. So if you're not prepared for a kind of a long-winded, just a relaxing video, go ahead and, find something else, because this is gonna be just me and you talking, going through the whole workshop. Here's a nice overview of the whole space. We've got lots of storage going up on the sides there with some old sealed boxes and the boxes that we just bought for the prefab testing. It feels real good to have all this easily accessible, because prior, I had everything kind of on the floor. Let's go ahead and go over to the first area here, which is my wall of kind of various supplies here. We got some clamps for woodworking and building subwoofer boxes. Clamps are oh no! Looks like I overloaded my clamp bar. Dang it. We got the pegboard coming out there. Crap. These are some Harbor Freight special clamps. Really good for, getting some good bonds on your subwoofer boxes. And then we got our caulking guns. You guys know I'm kind of addicted to silicone. And then we got our respirator right down in here when we're working with chemicals and stuff that really is in your face. Lots of zip ties. You gotta have the big boys like this, and then some various crap right here. We got some Anton Miller sound deadener. That stuff is crazy thick. And then the less important stuff doesn't really need a place like a shelf. I just let those spools sit right on the floor. And then moving a little bit over to the left, we got our first workbench. This has just been set up. Has those pieces of wood set in there just so nothing falls through the grates. These are those cheap, BJ's shelves, but they hold 600 pounds per shelf. So as you can see, we got the triple X's down there. We got some NVX amplifiers that are gonna be going in to the silver car. We're actually doing a speaker reinstall right now. So there's the first workbench. We got our spare 0 gauge wires down in here, and then going up we have the beginning of some odds and ends for using right down here, like some heat shrink and some of that wire loom, just so it makes it a little bit better if your wire's really dirty. And believe me, I've got lots of dirty wires from years down the road. Moving on to the left, we've got a nice little flat screen, and we've got the Savage A4 amplifier hooked up to my garage speakers up there. And guys, I have to say this, be prepared for a video on these, because little did I know, I got a hold of some of the world's most famous white van speaker scam speakers. Like back in the day when that guy, you'd be walking out of like Walmart and be like, yo dude, psh, psh. You get called over by like some random dude wearing 80s attire. So I'll be doing a video on that, but it sounds freaking really good in here. And then of course we've got the famous Toolbox. All of these names displayed right here are people who have supported the channel on Patreon, so I can't thank them enough for doing that. But this is where it starts to get a little bit more unorganized, because I haven't finished. We have some empty spaces right here. I'm still trying to pinpoint what's the most important spot and what goes where. But we got our cutting tools here and our crimping tools, and then we got our screwdrivers and pliers, both needle nose and the stubbies right here. Try to get that a little bit more organized down the road. And then in this drawer we got some vice grips, some monkey wrenches, a little bit of universal action there. And then down here, we've got a little bit more organized. I just picked these up from Harbor Freight, like the in-house brand over there, but hell, I can't complain. These things are nice and strong and they're going good. I also wanted to give a shout out to the Gately guy, because I've seen him do a lot of work with these discs. I believe one of the most famous examples is the Jeep and Base project. Those door panels, oh my God. And then going into the last drawer is some safety stuff. We got some safety goggles, safety gloves. We got some panel pullers and some plastic gloves for working on chemicals and all that. And can't forget the big soldering gun right there. That thing's from like the friggin' 80s. Pretty humble little setup, but I can't complain. It gets the job done. And then going over here, I got a little tiny little laptop computer set up just in case I'm doing box designs or watching some Hulu or Netflix. We got our 3 different size sockets here. These are just kind of like fishing toolboxes, but hell, they've been working for me for like 8 years, so might as well keep it. Moving on down, we got all of our spray bottles, spray chemicals, you know, brake cleaner, spray paints, Vaseline for doing some coating with the petroleum, just random stuff like that. And then on the bottom, we've got our adhesives like fiberglass resin and construction adhesive, silicone, all that jazz. And then going up top here, we've got some spare stuff. Spare wires that we just organized yesterday according to size. And some of these have terminated ends, some of them are just completely bare wire, but I separated them accordingly. And then right below it, we've got all of our different assortments of tapes. We've got Gorilla Tape, electrical tape, some Tessa tape, and then my drill press. That's a relatively new addition from last year, I believe. I got that from Home Depot or Lowe's. It was on sale. A nice Porter cable, so you can't go wrong with that. And then just below it, we have some goodies. This right here is my hydraulic crimper for taking 0 gauge lugs and making them very, very strongly secured to your wire. And then I got some tap and die sets that I haven't fully gotten into yet, but these are some Harbor Freight specials. Those will definitely be used later on for the big behemoth project because we're gonna be doing some threaded inserts and all that. Moving right along, you can see more of the organization from the other day. And then up on the tabletop, another area that I'm pretty proud of because I just kind of got it all set up. We got my light shining down here and some little holders to hold up all the things on the wall. Seeing all this kind of stuff like organized and knowing that it's, you know, it's mine and it just holds a nice place in my heart. So it may look a little unorganized to you, but hell, it really makes me happy. We got some screws organized in these little Dollar Tree Tupperwares, and I have them organized according to size, 3" down to 3/4 inch. And still slightly disorganized here, I'm still working on it, are all my little odds and ends. I got my bits. I'll be organizing those into these different bins, but it's kind of looking a little, I don't know, a little disorganized right now. Here's where I keep all my power tools. You know, it's kind of a small space, but I don't have too many to work with. Just my router, skill saw, jigsaw, you know, of course my heating gun for the heat shrink, and I also have a spare drill now from a subscriber. That was really awesome. He sent me an email and sent me that over like 2 years ago. That was really cool. And I've got some palm sanders in there too, and a little mouse sander, an angle grinder, and it's really a basic setup. And down in there, we got a Sawzall. So that's where I keep all my power tools, and then my table saw fits in just perfectly underneath that shelf. So even though we don't have a crazy assortment of like big power tools or even like automatic, you know, like programmable tools that get the job done a heck of a lot easier, like a CNC machine, you know, you can still accomplish a hell of a lot and get some intricate cuts if you just take your time. Moving on to my makeshift supply shelf here, these are actually taken from the Frankenstein build, those little back pressure plates behind the woofers that were mounted conventionally right in your face. I save all my pickles. All my pickle jars get utilized. So you can see I got, you know, 4 gauge terminals, 8 gauge terminals, all silver tinned, and then my fuses. These little glass things really come in handy unless you drop it. You can also see all this spare copper from projects of yesteryear. Some of it has the nice patina. Some of it has been clear coated, so you don't get that. See that green stuff right there? That's from Wright's copper paste. So if you have copper cleaner and it gets a little bit of residue on places that you can't fully rub off, be prepared to see that green stuff. So there's all that, and then moving on to my most new station, I just put up this shelf. I'm gonna be washing the car, so I kind of set everything aside for a video, and I'm gonna be doing the chemical guys process, the chemical bros, right here. See them on YouTube all the time, so I figured I might as well take them up on it and try the chemicals. I'll probably do it in the style of a review because I've never fully cleaned or detailed a big car like that, especially with foaming action and all that. So I'll do it from the perspective of a first timer doing a review on this kit because I spent a good amount of money on this, believe it or not. It was like, I don't know, 79 bucks or 89 bucks. I can't really remember. But for the most part, this bench was used for my test bench. We got our JY lithium battery. This is 80 amp hours. And then we got our Vibe Audio 10K. puts out lots of great power and stays nice and clean. Chop saw right there and some heaters from the winter time and the propane tanks and all that. And this is what I've been doing lately, hanging up my extension cords and leaving them plugged in so I can kind of just yank them off like this, bring them where I need to, bring them where I need to in the garage, and then just wrap them back up and hang them right back up on that nail. So that's been kind of handy for me so far. Panning down, you can see my pressure washer. That's gonna be using all those chemicals, and my OG compressor. Good Lord, we're gonna be upgrading this sooner or later, but gosh, the Porter cable is still kicking ass. My dad gave me this years and years ago, and he had it for years and years, but it's still working, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So there's a little walkthrough of the left-hand side of the garage, going through the supplies and the tools. Now I'll go over to the right-hand side of the garage for the slightly more exciting stuff. You guys know, right here, the Soundstream Triple X's, the Iragi 300 alternators, just waiting here, waiting their turn, you know what I mean? Because up on the ceiling, you can see those boxes are where all the recones are. So these right here are a match made in heaven. They're just waiting for their opportunity. You just gotta wait a little longer, guys. Everything will be okay. And check out our big ass port. Holy crap, Benjamin Gailey. Eat your heart out. That thing I can literally fit my whole torso in. We'll be doing something with that with the B221. That's inside, and that's another story. Moving along, we've got all of our wood coming up next. This is probably my most, I don't know, pain in the ass part of the wood shop, because whenever I want to get a certain size piece of wood, I gotta move all this crap, including the small pieces down there. So if I need like a piece of, just this plywood, I gotta move all this. So if you have any tips for making that a little bit more optimized, let me know, because it's freaking pain in the ass. But here's all my plywood. We got a nice shop vac for cleaning up all the debris from cutting the wood. And I think that oh shoot, that almost just fell over. There we go. That is my garage, and those are my tools. It's not a crazy shop, but hell, it makes me happy. So if you want to, why don't you post up a video just like this and share it with me so I can check out all of my viewers and their setup? Because, let's face it, not all of us can afford CNC machines and big warehouses. So to see people like you and me getting it done and staying happy doing it, that's what it's all about, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video, just kind of a carefree, relaxing, throw it up there kind of video. Have a happy Friday. Stay tuned next week as we announce the big winners for the giveaway. And thank you so much for reaching down and sharing some of the things you shared with me. Really, really means a lot to me, guys. It hit home with me. So, all right, I will talk to you guys in the next video. It's EXO, signing out.